Joe Biden is now in third place in the prediction market for the Democratic ticket. Despite winning the primary, he has dropped down. And the funny thing is, because we made this joke a couple weeks ago where, I was saying we follow the news so much, we can see what's on the horizon. And I'm making the joke, why don't I buy in this market? I'd be rich. Heavens me, if I bought no on Joe Biden, I'd have made a lot of money.
Even if you had bought Kamala a couple of weeks ago, right? Like, you could be selling now for a nice turn of profit.
Yeah. Gretchen Whitmer is actually now in second place. You guys think she'll be the VP?
No.
No.
Although Tayler said earlier that he thought they'd run an all-female ticket.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them to go with the double female lineup. They know they're going to. Well, the thing is I think I'm more on board with Luke. Is they know they're going to lose. They have absolutely no chance, especially replacing Biden if they do this late into the candidacy. There's no possible route for them to actually win. So maybe two people that aren't very popular, it would make sense to me for them to go down in flames.
And also, if they have more debates, right? Theoretically, there's going to be a debate, maybe a VP date in August, and then there'll be a VP debate in September. And so you can't put these nice, strong American men up against women and have them do badly. All the feminists will cry about it.
Taylor, if there's anyone who knows how to go down, it is Kamala Harris. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. But no, I do see the writing on the wall. Let Trump win, and then engineer a larger event, maybe financial crash, maybe pandemic 2.0, maybe war, and then blame it all on him.
You know what I can't get past, though, right? I appreciate the idea that Joe Biden was always going to drop out. They never expected to win 2024. But then what happened on Saturday? Because whatever happened on Saturday clearly was not according to plan. Mm-hmm. And so if they really were intending on losing, was the plan that Kamala Harris would be the president simply because the Republicans would be in chaos after Donald Trump lost his life?
I don't know.
Well, think about this. Think of what if they're, getting rid of him like we planned. I knew that when Anderson Cooper after the debate is that, everyone's attacking Biden and no one's saying anything about Donald Trump. Well, you knew this was their big play. But if you're going to steal an election, let's just use that on premise. If you're going to steal another election, you got to have something that's somewhat believable to the public. Nobody would believe if they do, let's say they steal the election, that they go all in with the machines and ballot harvest, whatever it is, and no one's going to believe it. But if you bring in whatever they would be bringing, I don't know what it's going to be, this all-women's ticket, and then they put out polls. Just last week, Fox put out a poll that it was, just last week, Fox put out a poll, I think, that they were even. Come on.
Right.
Give me a break.
538 has the simulation showing Biden winning, even right now.
Right, yeah. So you think of this, everybody. We know the real thing is Trump's favored by 60% of the country or more. So my theory is, and I'm a marketer, I'm thinking, well, you get rid of Biden and, you show him up there to the world how he is, and then you get rid of him, and now you bring in, we don't know what ticket would be, but you start feeding the public. Wow, they're polling. Trump's down 2 all of a sudden, and he puts this out there. Now if you steal it, it's just like 2020. Well, it's somewhat believable. What they did right here in Wisconsin, the polls came out that Donald Trump was a 17-point underdog in 2020, a week before the election, up to the election, when they were polling even before that on the real polls. Well, he loses by 1%. They go, wow, what a great effort. So nobody questions it, right? Except for a few people. But this is what I'm saying. These false polls and the propaganda, when you have every news outlet, including Fox, will be saying, hey, they're polling even. Realize Fox has controlled opposition. Everybody knows that.
If Donald Trump lost his life on Saturday, I believe Nikki Haley would be the nominee. The Republican convention would be in disarray. She'd show up and she'd say, I have the next highest amount of delegates. Here's why you should choose me. They'd probably, the Rhino establishment Uni-party guys would be like, of course we have to do this. And then when Nikki Haley loses to Kamala or Joe Biden, whoever else, it's believable. Because they're going to say even the Republican Party didn't like Nikki Haley and they had no choice.
You're exactly right.
The Democrats were unified the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the Uni-party for you. That is the Uni-party. You guys got to realize in my efforts across this country, I was telling that I wasn't fighting Democrats. It was this weird Uni-party Republicans. The first guy, you have Robin Voss right here in Wisconsin. How many people know about Robin Voss? It's horrible, right?
Hands are going up.
And
who is that? What happened with that one?
Robin Voss is the Speaker of the House here in Wisconsin. and he ordered an investigation in after the 2020 election by a guy by the name of Michael Gableman, an ex-Supreme Court judge here in Wisconsin. It was a year-long investigation. They came out with all this fraud. Robin Vos had to admit, yep, there was widespread fraud. My teams met with them and everything. Yeah, there was widespread fraud, but there's nothing I can do unless a court would rule on it. 1 month later, the Supreme Court of Wisconsin ruled that there was widespread fraud, so Robin went into hiding, and he shut down the investigation, fired Gableman, and so then what was it? And they set up the WEC in Wisconsin, which is the Wisconsin Election Commission. It's like the Secretary of State here, and very corrupt group. Well, anyway, the people then, we tried to recall Robin Vos this spring. We got enough signatures, they discredited him, the WEC did. Then we got enough, and they approved it. The WEC said, the lawyer said, yep, it's all approved, you got enough. We do his recall on August 6th, and the WEC said, no, we're not going to do it. It's against the country. What did we go through all the trouble for? You know, it's so corrupt. I think his whatever you call it, his approval rating is like 14%. You know, low. And the Democrats and Republicans want him gone. How does he keep winning? Ever wonder that?
Well, Mike, you're a conspiracy theorist. What do you think happened on Saturday? Right? Because I'll say there's no official story.
Right.
The news has reported that a crazy guy took a shot, but we don't actually have an official narrative yet.
No, we don't. And I'll tell you, I've been to over 150, maybe 200 rallies, and I look around at everything. The Secret Service, everything that's in place, and what I've seen there, and I wasn't at that one. I was in Miami, and we skipped to Pennsylvania, and there were so many deviations from a normal rally. Yeah, you add them up, and you can't. I'm sorry, it's impossible. And the biggest one, and right now, what are they doing? They're pushing out this guy's background. Oh yeah, look what he put on, Facebook or Twitter, whatever it was. Well, you go find someone in the town or whatever. You find some crazy. And, that's my thinking. There's no way there wasn't anybody on that roof. It's impossible that you didn't have a sniper on the roof looking into the crowd.
And not just that 10 minutes before Trump took the stage, right. They knew, they called him out as a threat.
Mm-hmm. How about
How's
this?
That possible?
How about this? You've all seen the picture where you hear the shots, bing, 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 bing. And then you hear the guy, the assassin getting killed. Not even 3 seconds later, bing, 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 bing. And you look up and they got the camera of him going, they got him, they're ready on him, and the shots fired. And then all of a sudden he shoots and kills him. If you don't know that he's there
That's
or know it's there, and you hear a shot go off, you look around, and you find it. Now you have to identify your target. If he did all that in 3 seconds, impossible.
You don't bring Trump back. You don't bring Trump back on the stage, and you allow him to address the crowd during an active shooting situation. From my opinion, as soon as I saw it, I said inside job automatically. Mm-hmm. There's no way that this is possible. Yeah. We've been predicting it as independent media, and it happened. You don't need a conspiracy theory. We need to put the burden of proof on the federal government to prove otherwise now. And I think that's the talking point that we need to get out there, because they need to prove to us that they weren't complicit, because they absolutely were in my book.
When I was younger, the JFK assassination was a crazy guy, and now it is mainstream. It was a CIA. RFK Jr. talks about it openly, and he is the third highest polling candidate for the presidency, publicly stating the CIA killed his dad and his uncle.
Yep. Well, Trump should have never even been able to step on stage, considering they had already identified the shooter as a threat 10 minutes beforehand. They saw him, I believe it was 26 minutes?
3 hours.
Yeah, which is insane.
3 hours.
How many coincidences can you have that don't line up? In a normal situation, Trump would have never been able to actually go on that stage until you start asking deeper questions. The slanted roof narrative, all of these things, they already have Secret Service on the slanted roof. It's like, come on. People are a little bit smarter than that, but I don't think that they expect the American public to ask questions. They just expect them to go the JFK route and go, must have been just mass incompetency. And with the DEI stuff we see nowadays, it's understandable. But at the same time, how many times can you have these failures and blatant failures until you start asking deeper questions?
Right. Also, the Secret Service has just had excuse after excuse after excuse right now. I mean, what was it? At first, it was local law enforcement are in charge of it. Actually, we always knew. Actually, we're afraid of slanted roofs, despite the fact that they've been a part of American architecture for years and years and years.
And the White House, in fact.
We were not planned for sloped roofs.
We were unprepared for this situation for an event that we've known about for a long time. I mean, it's just to a certain extent unexcusable. And again, I do think it's worth differentiating celebrating agents who were courageous in the moment and stepped up to do something versus the organization that they are a part of. I think we've all, seen this happen where there are good people on the ground when the management is really bad. And I think that this is just not something that we can gamble with the Secret Service, especially since the President Trump still has to rely on them. Right now, he is being guarded by Secret Service. I mean, if you are thinking that this agency is not being honest, let's remember that they have not had a press conference on what's going on, but they have sent their director to do an ABC interview.
And to the RNC.
And to the RNC, where she was
confronted by Marsha Blackburn and some others. Yeah.
The public just deserves answers. And I think also probably, every candidate who's now being protected by Secret Service, Biden, RFK, and Trump, should really know what the state of those they're trusting their lives to
and
is.
For me, that was the one agency I still trusted. I mean, I've been up against CISA, the CIA, the FBI. They run around taking my phone all the time. I mean, all these companies, it's not just three letters. It's the CISA is really bad. And here, I trusted the Secret Service. I'm going, wow, there's one good agency. I know a lot of them personally, many of them. And to have that happen, I'm going, I'm praying that, how deep did it go?
It was a heck of a gambit.
Pretty deep.
But I think the reasonable conclusion right now, or I shouldn't say even conclusion, but the reasonable hypothesis is in some capacity official involvement. That doesn't mean that every single Secret Service member or law enforcement officer is in on it. It could be as easy as one high-up official going over the plan for security, just moving one piece off the chessboard, leaving a hole in security. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.